How about now? Do I have audio now? That should be working on the audio. Okay. So what's taking place is when I set up the stream in YouTube, I wanted it to send out notifications that we were going to do a stream. So to schedule the stream, you actually already have to start the process of naming the stream. Then when you hit schedule, it redoes everything. It makes you put in a whole nother name and everything. So the coding for the stream got messed up. So I'm hoping now we can go back and cancel the other stream. Hopefully it's not showing up on YouTube, that particular stream that's just sitting there waiting. I'm going to have Linnell get on the other computer and see if she can hit the edit button under the video and actually end the stream. She says she doesn't know how to do it. I think it may confuse people if they see two streams and they join the other one. It just says waiting on me. So what we may have to do is just start over again, and I'll have to go in and actually cancel that stream, and then I'll have to re-sign in to Google and everything all over again. Or I can just walk in there, give me 5 minutes, and I'll go in and see if I can actually cancel that stream so no one gets confused. So give me 5 minutes, guys. Okay, guys, that might be a bug actually in YouTube. I may need to learn how to actually do that. I know other people schedule lives and then are using OBS, but I must not have done something right. So I had to go into the other room on the other computer and actually go in and delete the other live stream. It still said waiting on MusicNGear. So still on the learning curve, guys. But I see now we have 6 people, and we're going to do something a little different tonight. Well, I guess before we get into that, I want to go over who all I see here. I see Kurt is in, and we have Devastator, and then Pentagore. I like when the amp cable is lying on the ground. If you're talking about this cable right here, that's actually not a light cable. That's actually a cable running over to one of my lights. And I've found if I have the lights behind me, it creates a lot of glare. So this room is actually set up for me to do the review videos. So in the review videos, everything that you guys see in the review videos is up here. This is where my Akai is, the Mackie and the rack is over here, my rack mount amplifier and the Egnator is over here, some guitars on the wall, guitars on the wall. So you guys are actually seeing the opposite end of the room, and that's what that cable is. It's actually going to one of the lights. And I see Red Eye has joined the group, and we have Dean. And if you're new here, Dean, welcome. I don't know if I've seen you actually post in the live stream. Rules are talk about anything you want to talk, just be nice to one another, and you guys set the stage for the live stream. Wherever you all want to kind of go and whatever you want to kind of talk about, that's kind of what we do. I only have one thing I want to do. I want to open this little guy. Picked this up today at my local music store. Main reason is we did a test live stream last night. I went back and listened to it, and I personally thought the mic, the SM57 here, kind of sounded like I was in a bean can. So I'm hoping this new microphone will up the sound quality a little bit. It's not a directional mic. This one actually requires phantom power, and it's more open, so it shouldn't sound as bad, or it might sound worse. It's going to be up to you. Right now we're using the SM57. We'll open that box up here in a couple minutes and actually see what the new mic sounds like. And if you hear a hum, it's this guy right here. I tried to go through the house and turn off everything. Now I probably need to turn the furnace off. So tell me, do you still hear the hum? Now in the room, I do have a small heater over on the other side I turned on. And yeah, you still hear the hum. Go ahead and turn that one off and see if it fixes it. It's pretty warm in the house. It actually got up to like 45 degrees here today. So, now what you guys might be hearing is the guitar. Did that make a difference? I'll wait for, it's a 10-second delay. I just slid the slider back on channel 3-4. Actually, all I really needed to do was mute the channel. Okay. Again, I brought the slider up again, but I've muted 3-4, so hopefully that'll fix that issue. So that means my new settings on my line 6 are probably a little noisy. I did some tweaking in there as well. We'll see. I have to remember that because, again, I looked at last night's live stream, and I could hear myself hitting the strings through the SM57. So it was getting the pick attack, and you were hearing that along with the line 6. So tonight when I play, I'm going to remember to mute channel 1, which is the microphone, and hopefully the sound quality of the guitar will be a little better. I'm learning as I go. Yep. Benagor says, that's it. Quiet. Cool. Sounds great now. Guys, I'm learning. We're still really on a budget system. This is my old mic that I used to mic off my guitar cabinet. This is actually an SM57 Beta. I actually liked the SM57, just the regular one, better. The Beta's a little hotter. It does have a little bit better response. But in large venues, I think just the old faithful SM57 is better than the Beta. I think if you're trying to get a little bit better quality and you're not as loud or have all the background noise like in a bar, I think this mic might be better than the regular 57. I'm not sure on that. I just seems like I like the older 57s better. Let me get back to the chat here. Looks like a George Lynch stripe on one humbucker. You guys have kind of lost me on that. New Firefly guitar drop. Oh, Firefly's dropping a new model. What's the new model? Now they've been doing the Telecaster. They've done like a dual humbucker Telecaster. It's like a troublemaker. Then they also made the conventional tellies. They've made the offset Strat, then the regular Strats. the LPs, and there's two versions of the LP. They made an access cut and a regular one. Then they make a V and like an Explorer body. Um, they also made the, they haven't made it in a while, the PRS style guitar.
The new one is like a George Lynch style. That's what that comes out.
Oh, like a George Lynch style. That might be interesting. I might have to check that out. I'm all about crazy guitars. I'm all about being different and loud and obnoxious. So this is about as obnoxious as you can get. So if it's something different and cool, I'll probably like it. An 80s hair metal humbucker. That's what Dean's saying. So I'm going to say they're probably emulating either a Duncan Distortion or a JB Jazz. You know, something like that. Hey, Jerry, what's going on? I see Jerry's joined the chat now. Good to have you here, Jerry. So, Dean, when is this guitar supposed to drop? The end of January, or is it going to be the typical Firefly? They're going to sneak it in at 12 o'clock and not tell anybody, and it'll be sold out in 12 hours before anybody actually knows it appeared. That's what just happened to me, but I actually knew it was there. They posted the FFMN with the Eddie Van Halen stripes. Posted, I saw it about 6:30. And CG sent me a message saying, hey, you wanted this guitar, it's in stock. I'm like, man, I know, maybe it's there in a couple days. I literally went back that morning, the very next morning, and the guitar was sold out. Along with, they also brought in two of the Strat models, the one with the pointy headstock and the regular Firefly headstock. Both of those models in the EVH had sold out by morning as well. So it's really hard to get their one-off guitars like that. So I'm going back to the chat here. You guys are just saying hi to one another. Pentagore. I don't know why I have such a hard time saying Pentagore. Let's say that like 5 or 6 times really fast. Do you know if it's coming to their website or eBay store? I'm not that I'm going to buy one, probably, most likely, I think maybe. You sound like me. I've noticed that, and there are 10 people here. Maybe someone can clue me in on something. You have Guitar Gardens, right? And then you also have, there's another YouTube channel that does a lot of reviews on Fireflies. And he always says, he doesn't say Guitar Gardens, he says Firebird guitars. But it's not Firebird, it's Firefly. I think it's Jimmy Stewart is the channel. If you guys seen his channel, I'm pretty sure he says Firebird Music. Is Firebird Music a distributor for Firefly, or is Firebird Music the Amazon listing? Maybe Firebird Music is the one doing the Amazon stuff and Guitar Gardens is doing the online stuff. Does anyone know the correlation there between the two? Firebird is the parent company. And that's according to Pentagore. Thank you very much for that. I was very curious how that worked. Jerry said no clue. That's okay, Jerry. That's what the chat and the members are for. They answer those questions as it comes up. And Red Eye says, yes, he does. I don't know. I need to get one of those things that read the chat off as I go. That way I'm not constantly looking over. It would probably just be irritating with it yelling in my voice as you guys are chatting. But I definitely need to get used to being able to read and communicate at the same time. Yeah, it's Jimmy Stewart. He's the only one I've heard actually use the term Firebird. So I didn't know if that had something to do with the Amazon or not. But that brings me back to my original thing. If you look at what Amazon has listed, let's say they'll have the Explorer listed, maybe a couple Flying V's. If you go to Guitar Gardens, they never have that model on the Guitar Garden site. If they have something on the Guitar Garden site, it's not on the Amazon listing. And if they do have the same model, like let's say an FFLP or an FFVX or XV or whatever that is, it'll be a different finish. Maybe on Amazon they'll have the red one with the black, black to red sunburst. But then on Guitar Gardens they'll have a wood grain one, where the Amazon one might have the Floyd Rose version, but Guitar Gardens doesn't. It seems like there's a disconnect between the two. I'm not, maybe Guitar Gardens is just sending X product to the Amazon warehouses and not worried about particularly stocking that product in their other warehouse that goes out to us that's buying off Guitar Gardens. I've never spoke to Firefly. After all the reviews I've done for that company, they've actually never reached out to me. I would be curious how they structured the company. Amazon and Guitar Gardens never match. Yep, that's Dean. I've noticed that. It never does match. And then Jerry, an amp you spoke of last night, PV Transformer 112 with red stripe and the triangle, is on auction in Richmond for $11.98. We actually went, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, we actually got on the website and we did see one. But the one I'm looking for is, I believe it's called a Bandit Transnova, and it's got a single 12, and it's known as the Red Stripe PV. But I did see that amp that you're talking about on there. I did see that one. Those PVs were way underrated. They're really good amps. If you're familiar with like the Roland amplifiers, they're not digital. I guess they're analog, capacitor amp. I would put those PV amplifiers right up with the Stereo Chorus Rolands. They actually made a Transnova Stereo Chorus and then make it long with two 12s. Those are really good amps and really underrated. If you want that type of amp, it's not a modeling amp, it's not a tube amp, it is a solid state amp. But it's a really good solid state amp. And then Pitagore says they do have a V and an X now. The V is a Buckethead replica. I didn't know Buckethead actually played a V. I thought he always played like a Les Paul's type guitar. I don't think I've ever seen one of his videos with him playing a V. I just remember the white Les Paul with that big, I guess it's the red button that mutes the guitar back and forth. That guy's got a lot of talent too. Really, I can only take so much because it's back and forth, but I do like listening to him. It's pretty neat. They may have an exclusive deal with one or the other. That's Devastator. I don't know how it works. Like I said, if Firefly wants to ever reach out to me and send me a guitar or even just go over the structure, I've been buying all my own Fireflies for the reviews, so I don't expect them to send me a guitar. I actually have a Firefly guitar in the box, never opened. I ordered that guitar 6 months ago for a review, and I think we're going to have to get to reviewing it. It needs to be reviewed. If I remember correctly, it's a Firefly Super Strat. I think it's a dual humbucker, not like a Fender Strat, the more Ibanez type Fender Strat that they make. I don't remember what the finish is. I just don't. It would have been about 6 or 7 months ago. And then we've got Red Eye. Peavy made some incredible stuff when they were in Mississippi. Yes, they did. I'm a PV fan. Everyone knows that. I have a lot of late 80s, early 90s PVs. Some of the best instruments, really, they were really good instruments. I have I have four PV Nitros, one active, actually two actives, one HSS, and I don't know what the other one is. And then oh yeah, and the Vandenberg, which is a humbucker single. So I have those four PVs, and eventually the channel's going to do a video on my red nitro that I picked up. It's pretty much mint, uh, but it has some issues. There's no scratches, or well, there's a few little small scratches, but no major dents. So it's completely stock. It has not been modified at all. I want to take the guitar, give it a good restoration, really clean the fretboard, clean the frets, condition the fretboard, make sure everything's perfect, readjust the neck. Now on the PV, they had four screws on the back neck plate. There's another hole going towards the body of the guitar. And there's a metal plate on the back side of the neck. And that screw adjusts how much angle you can put on the neck. So you loosen the two back screws and you tighten that screw up, and it'll actually change the neck angle a little bit. So it's quite innovative design. Once you get that angle right, then you retighten the two larger screws, and that locks the neck into position. Take all that stuff apart, get it really good and clean, make sure all the solder joints are still good in the guitar, and bring it back to life. I've had the guitar now for about a year, and I have not taken it out of the case since I put it in the corner. So sometime this year we're going to do a restoration of that guitar. Go through, polish the body on it, give it a new shine, redo the frets on it. Don't want to really do a fret level unless we having trouble talking tonight. Unless we really have to. Maybe just polish the frets and give the guitar a good cleaning. Now I'll go back to the chat here. Firefly's main issue is lack of specs on their website. Well, for someone like me that's reviewed Firefly, that's kind of a good thing, because it allows smaller channels to buy the product and review the guitar. This channel really isn't a demo channel, it's more of a review channel. And I'm really trying to change the channel a little bit. Guys, those type reviews that I was doing take a tremendous amount of time. I still want to do them, but I want more of a community atmosphere, and I noticed that in the comment sections on my reviews. I want that community type thing. So as a community, we can get a good idea whether a product is good or something that we need to stay away from. That's the goal of the channel. And then to have a place to hang out, that's another thing. Since we don't have the music stores anymore, this will be a place for us to hang out and chat. I'm going to get a drink, and I'll get caught up on the chat. Jerry says, I watched a shootout between many heads. I personally, the PV6505 sounded best. I have the Synergy SY2, and the 2 stands for dual module. I can put 2 modules in it. Right now I have the Friedman BE Deluxe in one side, and I have the Sedano Slow in the other. Now, I do not have the new Sedano Slow. Mine's the old one from last year. So it doesn't have, it's still 2-channel, but you don't have controls for both channels. The EQ is the same EQ in channel 1 and channel 2. You can't increase the bass on channel 1. Whatever that setting is on low, mid, high, the 2 channels save it. The new Sedano Slow, they actually separated and added more features. I was thinking about pulling that one out and getting the 6505 module for my Synergy. But then I was also thinking, I have the Friedman, And the Friedman sounds really good, so I was thinking about getting the bass P for the Bassman or Bass M or whatever that module is. It's a Fender. Fender didn't authorize it, so they can't call it a Bassman. I can't remember. They call it a B-Man or something like that. I was thinking about getting that for the clean tones and sticking in the Synergy. If anyone has any suggestions on what module for clean would be good for the Synergy product, you can post in the chat below. I'd be curious to see what you think on that.
Bryce is in there. He said hello.
And I see Bryce has joined the group. How you doing, Bryce? Good to see you. And I need to get caught up again with the chat. Chat really seems to be flying through. I'm having a hard time keeping up. And if I miss anything, I'm sorry. The big thing, if you have a question directly for me, if you could put a bunch of question marks in front of it, write your question and then a ton of question marks after it, at least then my little eyeballs will see that you have a question. Yeah, Red Eye. I think going and doing a restoration on that PV Nitro, that's going to be cool. I have a PV Nitro active right now, but it's been heavily modified. This one is 100% stock, so I think it would be cool to, rebuff the body on the guitar. It's a red guitar, so I think the body will really pop back like that 80s red. Rehydrate the neck. Just go through, pull the tuning keys apart, re-grease the tuning keys, give it a really good tune-up. That guitar does have the Killer 2710 on it. It's not the 2700. The 2710, they upgraded the posts and they upgraded the finger pieces for the lockers on the back. So I'd be curious to actually have one and play one. My other two Kalers are 2700s. They have the smaller posts. And they claim they fixed a lot of the problems on the second gen Kaler. So that guitar has the second gen Kaler. They didn't make many of them because like 6 months later, the Floyd Rose lawsuit come down and Kaler could no longer produce the Killer. And they went to the Spider bass tremolo. Nothing wrong with the Spiders if you're running a Spider, but the Kaler was the bridge, in my opinion. So yeah, it would be cool to fix that guitar. And I see Dean, my luthier is certified Fender. Gibson, Martin guy. He called one of my Firefly straps total crap. Then the other one really good. Hit and miss. I can see that. Anytime you lower the price point of a product, the quality control on the back end is going to get hit. That's where they're going to save money. They're going to save money because of man hours. How many hands and how much physical labor a person puts into that product. That's what causes the price of the product to go up. So these really inexpensive import guitars, they're come off the CNC, assembled, strings put on, and they're put in the box and they're shipped. You might get a really, really good one, then you might get a really, really bad one. I have received 2 guitars that I would consider were bad from Guitar Gardens. And what's really funny is the worst one I've ever received from Guitar Gardens is the one I play the most, and that's my FFMN. And if you haven't watched that, I have a whole series of videos on how to take that guitar in its stock form, just fix the issues, not buy any parts. Get it to play as good as it could without spending any money, just your time. Then I have a whole other series on dumping $250 on it and trying to make it as good as it can be. So if you haven't seen those, it's a pretty good little series, 2 little series on that one. But I love that guitar. It plays great. And that was one of the worst ones they ever sent me. The other one, when I opened up the box, the body had a season crack in it. And I ended up not returning the guitar. I sold it to a subscriber. He said he watched the channel. And he didn't care that there was a crack in the body. He was just going to beat the you-know-what out of it, playing it. He was just starting to play again. It didn't bother him. I sold it to him for $100, which was a lot less than I paid for it. That way I didn't bug Guitar Gardens. And I did do a really quick video on that, showing the guitar was busted. So it's not that I didn't make a video. I did post a video saying, hey, I received a bad one. What do you guys think? So I always try to keep up with that kind of stuff. Try to be honest. And I'm just seeing, hello, man, Bryce, you're well loved here. I can see in the chat. And Red Eye says, I have a Sedano head somewhere in the spare bedroom. Now this means when you have a spare Sedano just laying around and you don't know where it is, that means you've got better amps than the Sedano, which I think is an awesome amp. That means you have amps that you feel are even better than the Sedano that's out in your playing area. So I'm kind of curious to know, what amp are you playing to put the Sedano in the closet and you don't know where it's at? That's pretty funny. I would love to have a true Sedano head. That's big money for one of the good ones. And then I see Nicholas. I don't know if you've commented in the chat before. If you're new here, welcome. And if you've already been a subscriber to the channel before tonight, thank you very much. And everyone that's posting is a subscriber. I did make that little thing. You got to be a subscriber for like a minute. I didn't think it was any big deal. But I want to welcome him. I don't know if I've ever seen him post in any of the videos before. And he's saying carving guitars are great. Always wanted a carver, never ordered one. I am thinking about getting a Kiesel, but I'm also thinking about several other guitars. But I'm leaning towards the Kiesel. We're going to go on Nicholas's tangent here. Carving Kiesel. I'm thinking about buying a new guitar, and I want a nice guitar. The guitars I've been looking at are the, I believe it's the SL27EX, which is a Jackson neck through body 27 fret. It's an import, but they still want $2,000 for it. The next guitar I was thinking about is the new PV Vandenberg, the pink one. It's modeled right after the 1987 model, single humbucker, rotated single coil, neck through. That guitar is $3,000. So I'm looking at, they're both imports. So I'm looking at $2,000 or $3,000. What can I get at Kiesel for that kind of money? I think I can get a pretty nice Kiesel for $2,000. I think I can get a really nice Kiesel for $3,000. I don't know which way I'm going to end up going. I might not buy either three and just buy two lesser expensive guitars and just have two more guitars to enjoy. That's what I've been doing. And Red Eye says, message retracted.
Yeah, he typed a message and then he retracted it.
Whatever as long as it's nice, Red Eye, I don't care. I was looking, I thought the moderator went in there and struck somebody down for a second. Excuse me. And I see Devastator says, I bet that sounds good, Dean. So I'm going to have to look up good FF Strat paint and relic. I put the Fender Potson switch in it, Wilkinson pups, and a pure tone multi-port jack. Guitar parts, yeah, all for $500. I think that pure tone jack makes a really big difference. Not saying anything about the stock jack. I have stock jacks in some of my Kramers. If it's a guitar I'm playing a lot, I'm switching it to a pure tone jack just simply because of the engagement. That's a really good modification for a guitar that you play a lot. The softer jacks have a tendency of not making a good contact. The pure tone makes contact in two positions, on the tip and the sleeve. So it's a good jack. And I'll be honest with you, at my last guitar I used CTS pull pots. I wasn't I don't want to say I think they're cheap, but I've definitely seen a quality change in CTS. I am leaning more towards Barnes now than CTS. Not taking anything away from CTS, I think they're fine. But when I feel the Barnes and the way they turn and the way the push pull works on the Barnes, they just feel smoother, if that makes sense. I don't know if anyone has any experience with the CTS versus the Barnes. I'm feeling the Barnes just has a better feel to it than the CTS. So I would do Barnes pots, a pure tone jack, and then the pickups of your choice. Make sure your bridge is grounded properly, and you should be good. And I see Juke 5000 has joined the group. Good to see you again, man. He says he has a Kiesel branded as a Carbon. A JB200, 4 years now. I don't know if I know the JB200. Is that a Strat model or is that one of their alternative body styles? Red Eye says, I guess this is his comment back to my Sedano comment. I have so many tube amps, it's ridiculous. I like it. I got too many guitars, that's ridiculous. But I don't have too many amps. I like amplifiers. I don't know. I got, well, 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't think I can count this one because it's technically broke. So I guess I technically have 4 tube amplifiers and 1 dead Black Star tube amplifier. So I guess that counts. Fender Champ, he says, or just a practice unplug 8 hours a day. No joke. Now, the significant other has an amp down in the basement. It's a Fender from the early 70s, I'm going to guess. It's in really, really bad shape. I thought it's a Vibrolux, isn't it? I think it's a Fender Vibrolux. I was going to try to restore it, but it's in really bad shape. The cabinet's in really bad shape, and I'm not really worried about it being worth anything. It would just be kind of cool to restore the amplifier. So I might look around and see if someone makes a replacement cabinet for it with new Torlex. The cabinet's in really bad shape, so I would have to pull the guts out, put it in a new cabinet, and it definitely needs a new speaker because the cone is broke all the way around it. I don't know if the old early 70s Vibroluxes are worth any money or not. Someone can make a comment. It might not be worth anything. But that's something that's downstairs that I could technically be working on. And then Dean, my new amp is a Fender Champion 250. Wait, I put Eminence Texas heat speakers in it. Pairs great with the Firefly and the Fender and the Schecter Telecaster. I like the Schecter Telecasters. I'm not familiar with the Eminence Texas heat speakers. Eminence makes good drivers, so I'm sure they're good. Fender Champion 2. That's something that I want to do. That's our next hurdle on learning how to fix the live stream, is for me to be able to pull up web pages and share that information. And everyone knows by the start of the stream, I'm still even having problems starting the stream. So, baby steps. We'll get there. And Dean, it does sound really sweet. I bet it does. Now, Juke 5000 says Jason Becker tribute model. I assume he's talking about the Kiesel. I like that model. It looks cool. It's got the big numbers on it. That's obnoxious, and I'm all about obnoxious. I would sport that guitar. I want a pink Vandenberg, so that's all about being obnoxious. That would be cool. I I think I was on Kiesel's site. They make that guitar, the Jason Becker, with a headless model. I think I saw a headless model of that guitar called a numbers guitar. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I saw that. No, you're speaking of the JB24 numbers guitar. Okay. Did they make the JB24 in a headless? Because I'm pretty sure I saw that. I'm not sure. I think now Jason Becker, I think that's the artist that every time they sell one, they donate a little bit of money. I believe he's in bad health. Is that correct? And Red Eye says regarding the Vibrolux, if the transformers are okay, the Vibrolux is a great amp. Um, I would say the transformers are good. It was never left outside. It's been in an acclimated home. It's just old and dry rotted. The speaker has literally just fallen apart inside the cabinet. It's probably been years since that amplifier was actually ever turned on or ever attempted to play. So tubes usually don't go bad. You may have to just go through and clean all the potentiometers in it, clean the jacks, get a test speaker. I'll check the voltage taps on the transformer, make sure it's good. I'm not at any means an amp technician. If I wanted to really be smart, I would send it to Mike, one of our channel moderators, and I know he could go through the amp and make it like brand new. He's really good with those type things. And then Jupe, limited edition. I assume Jupe's talking about the headless numbers guitar. And we got Mikey. Just joined the group. If I haven't seen your comment before, welcome to the group. And it sounds like an AC hum. If you're talking about the noise in the background, this is a budget system, and you probably hear one of the smaller heaters in the house going. I don't have a studio. This is literally my living room, and you're just picking up what's ambient room noise. I do not have a compressor limiter or a noise gate on my microphone. So you're probably just picking up a little bit of noise in the room. I apologize, but with each stream we're trying to get a little bit better. So hopefully the stream will get better. I do have some noise gates and some cracked compressors and some limiters. I'm trying to keep it simple. Get this working properly, which I'm still having some technical issues with. Once I feel really confident on the basic system I have, I'll start addressing some of the smaller issues like room noise, the floor noise, or what they call the floor of the room. Try to get the ambient noise a little lower. There's a bunch of things that I need to do, but if you go back and look at our very first live stream, I'd say so far we're making leaps and bounds in progress as far as the sound quality and the picture quality. So hopefully everyone likes it. Devastator, yeah, dang ads. Sorry guys. I was on a live stream the other day and they said they had figured out how to turn that off, and I typed right in there, please tell me how to do it, and they never responded back. The only option I see when you monetize is conservative. So maybe you have to not monetize the video for it not to have ads. I couldn't imagine. Maybe that's what I do. It's not monetized while it's a live stream, but once the live stream is done, maybe I can go in and edit it and then monetize it, and then everyone that watches it at a later date gets an ad. I don't know if that's possible or not. Red Eye, you should recap it at least. Yeah, Yeah, you should probably recap that amp. I agree with that. It hasn't been turned on in a long time. It would definitely need to be recapped. You're 100% correct. And Juke 5000, I use the Line 6 Helix LT. Don't know what that model is. I know right here I have a Line 6 HX Stomp, and that's what I'm using on the guitar for the live stream. I know that I really liked the rack mount unit. I'm all about rack equipment, so I kind of like the rack mount. Mikey says yes, gone. So I don't know if he's referring to the noise. It could be my chair too. Now we do have some line noise at the beginning of the stream. My line 3-4 was still on for the guitar. So I made some adjustments in the line 6. So I may have messed up the guitar channel, and we may have to do that here in a couple minutes, and you guys can give me an opinion. But back to what the other part was, and I had mentioned it earlier. I went to my local music store, and this does not mean that this is going to get better. This might be something that makes the sound really, really, really horrible. And since we've already started the stream, I may not actually hook it up. But right here, I do have my XLR. It's already ready. And right where I'm pointing down here, there's a boom piece. And that cable runs around over to my Yamaha. So I can technically unplug the SM57 and just plug this microphone in. But I was not familiar with this brand. It's SE. It was $100, I think. I think it was $100. If anyone's familiar with this brand, it's a X1A. I'm going to give it an open here. It looks like we got some stickers. SE sticker. A bigger SE sticker. Warranty stuff. Little foam pad. And there's the microphone. So I'm going to set this. Let me set this right here. So here's the mic. Now right here, this is a low cut. And then it has a 20 dB cut here. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not familiar with this brand. So I purchased the mic and wanted to try to get something that didn't make me sound like I was in a beanhole. Hopefully the mic isn't moving around too much. The camera's actually hooked into the boom stand that the mic's on. Now I do not have the mic plugged in yet, but that was the reason I picked it up. This microphone's more of an instrument mic. It's an SM57 Beta. This one's more, I forget what he called the style mic. It's a condenser microphone, so it will need phantom power. And I can supply the unit phantom power off the Yamaha. So I don't know. The live stream is working, so I really don't know if I want to unplug the microphone and freak out OBS and do a change. It might be something that we might do a test stream tomorrow and test out the new microphone. And I'm going to look at the chat and see if anyone's actually ever heard of this brand. Anyone heard of SE microphones? See, baiting a 1000 or batting a 1000, Avery. I don't know what you're talking about, Jerry. I'm kind of.
Talking about getting all your stuff done, doing this, and what goes wrong, and not doing it right.
Yeah, we are trying to get it a little better. I don't want to mess up the stream. You know, I'm trying to get basic components at a budget so we have a place to hang out. And I listened to last night's stream, and to me, the audio, the voice audio, just sounded very funny. Hopefully, I did make a correction since I also bought it was actually designed for a kick drum pedal, little mic stand. So that's what the microphone is on. And on the back side of that stand, it's like a little mini boom. I've mounted the Mevo camera on its swivel base, hooked to the arm. That freed up the microphone boom stand right here, and I was able to point the SM57 more in my direction. So the audio quality should have gotten just a little bit better just based on me turning the microphone this way instead of shooting it that direction. So back to the chat. It was there last night. So I don't know what you guys are talking about, but gone after the chat ended. So something I've been trying to do is try to keep the live chat up. And one live stream, the live chat is missing. I don't know what happened to it. It's no longer there. And when the live stream ends, now I always go back into edit details and I make sure replay live chat is clicked. So if someone does miss the show, they can at least go back, start at the beginning, and they can see your all's topics and chats. It really wouldn't make too much sense without the chat, because I go back to the chat and talk to you guys quite a bit. You guys bring up the topic. That's the point in the show. And Juke 5000 has a question. I didn't see any question marks.
It says MusicNGear question.
Oh, just so you know, Juke, what I want to do, the only way I can really see it now, Linnell yelled in saying that you had a question. I'll get to it. If you could put a bunch of question marks at the beginning, write your question, and then a bunch of question marks afterwards. It'll really show up on the screen on my end, and I'll know it's a question. I have a Floyd Rose Special on my Schecter guitar, and it seems the high E saddle is stripped out. Can't seem to get the Allen screw to tighten it enough to lock the string in place.
Wants to know if he needs to buy a whole new rose.
What you can do, the saddle block itself, okay? We're gonna use this guitar here as a reference. This screw goes through the bridge plate here and then into the saddle. So this saddle on the back side right here is threaded. If this is stripped in there, that's what's causing the problem. What I would do is, you don't have to replace the whole bridge. I don't know what kind of music you play. You can get stainless steel saddles. And if you get the saddles, you can get the stainless steel set screws back here to go in it. If you go stainless steel on your saddles, something I did notice, your tone of the guitar will get a little brighter. So if you like the tone that you have now, it's a steel saddle, so you want to get a new steel saddle. I do recommend going stainless on that long screw. The screw right here that comes in the tailpiece. They make an upgraded screw set that goes through. And the reason is these fine tuners push on that screw, and that moves the saddle when it's pushed on. So when that's pushing on that saddle, it's pushing on the center of that screw, and sometimes it'll warp the screw right here. So at least get the stainless steel screw set and then get the steel saddles. Floyd Rose Special, you can put the FR1000 saddles on it. You can also put the original German saddles on it. I don't know if the Goth saddles will work, but I know Cash, if you go back and look at my video on the FFMN tremolo upgrade, I used the Cash stainless steel saddles, and I ran the stainless steel screws through it. So that's one way of fixing it. If it's stripped, you need a new saddle. And the drawback is, unless you can get the exact same saddle from like a Floyd Rose Special, it may affect the tone. The material of the saddle really affects the tone. So if you put one brass saddle or one stainless steel saddle, The high E string isn't going to be like the other strings. The material's different. So you at least need to get a saddle set. And since that saddle's stripped, I wouldn't trust the locking screw. So I'd get a new screw. If you buy a saddle set, the locking block should also come with the saddle. I would recommend the Cash. It's a nice saddle set. You can get it on Amazon. It's like $60 now. You at least get that and then get the new screws to go in the back. The screws will probably be $10. That's what I would do. Now, it's a Floyd Rose special. Now, that means your base plate is going to be a little softer than an FR1000. If you can afford it, maybe while you have it apart, look at the knife edges of the bridge, make sure they're nice and clean. If they're not, clean them up. And if you don't want to mess with that, get a replacement FR1000 bridge plate and move your block and everything over to that and put your new saddles in. The next thing you can do, you can get a Goth. I think the new Goth bridge is about $180. You can slap a Goth in it and you're ready to go. It depends on your budget. If you're trying to do it as cheap as possible, I would go with the Cash saddles and a new locking screws. Like I said, the saddles will come with the blocks. You'll be good. You could probably do non-stainless steel saddles and new rear screws for $40. If you go high end, like the stainless, you're probably going to be in the $50 or $60 range. Jupe says, I do need to buy a new rose. Yeah, like I said, you don't need to buy a whole bridge. It depends on what you want. It's a Floyd Rose special. So the tremolo arm right here on the special and the socket is a little cheaper. So when you go to move it, there's a lot of play in the special. This particular guitar has the turbo bar, and there's very little play. So I added the turbo bar to this guitar, just to get rid of that slop. Another thing with the special, like I said, the base plate's a little softer metal. The saddles are softer metal. Everything's softer. That's why you've stripped out a screw or stripped the housing. It's just soft metal. The FR1000, I believe, is going for about $200. And at $200, you can get a Goth. I think the Goth is probably a little bit better tremolo than the FR1000. If you like the more traditional Floyd Rose, you can go to a German. Or you can just build your own. You can build a custom tremolo, Floyd Rose based tremolo, for about $200. And I have a video on that too. It's in the FFMN video series. Building the ultimate Floyd Rose bridge. It's a super hard German base plate with stainless steel saddles. It's a monstrous 42 millimeter solid brass black block. A solid brass claw. Beefy solid brass claw. It makes a difference. And then really nice springs. It's a nice tremolo. Let me actually, I'll pull the guitar off the wall. I'll show you what I did, if you're not familiar with the video. And I'm already going to say, if it's dusty, I apologize. This is a custom tremolo. It's not a Floyd Rose. It's a Floyd Rose design, but there's nothing Floyd Rose on it other than the bar. So the bar is a Turbo Pro. Okay. Try to get a close-up view of the bridge. So it's a turbo bar. It's the German hardened steel plate. Okay, German hardened posts. It has the Cash saddles, Cash stainless steel hardware, and rear bolts. Underneath in the back, if you can see that big, huge plate, it's a monster. This brass plate is a 42 millimeter Music Lily solid brass L plate. So the plate is machined out in an L. That way you get more mass because the L it's cut out for this post plate here. And you can't see the claw, but it's got a heavy duty claw and some really nice springs. And I want to say everything on this was just a fraction over $200 to build that bridge. And it's a monster. When I say it's a monster, it's a monster. And I have yet to bend anything on it, and the sustain is ridiculous. But I want to say it is a little brighter than the steel saddle bridge or a brass saddle bridge. I definitely heard the difference with the stainless steel saddles. It's a little brighter. If you picked this guitar up and played it, and then you picked up a regular Floyd Rose, you probably wouldn't hear it. But if you played the exact same guitar with two different bridges on it, you would hear that the stainless steel saddle one is a little crisper and a little brighter. Check out that video on how to build it. That might be the way. If you're mechanically inclined, I would build it. Because you're not going to buy this tremolo in a kit for that kind of money. And I guarantee you it's far superior to the Goth. These cast saddles and the machining on the brass pins that hold this together, I show it in the video. There is no slop in any of this. The machining is spot on. It's brushed. There's no sharp corners. There's no sharp edges. And they are numbered. You have 2 1s, 2 2s, 2 3s to create the arch. And you still, depending on the neck radius of your guitar, you still may need to put shims under the saddles. I don't remember. It's been a while since I did the video. Just because you have 3, which is the shorter saddle, doesn't mean that it always has to go on the E strings. If you find that your shim is raising it up too high, you may take one of your thicker saddles and move it to the B string. And then take the number 2 saddle that was for the B string and move up to the G. And use a 2 shims or 1 shim. So it's a time-staking. Plan on 2 sets of strings. Because your first set, by the time you loosen everything and you check it and you shim it and you move it, you can get the shim in there, but just count on 2 sets of strings. By the time you set the intonation, do all the saddle work, count on 2 sets of strings. But check out that video. That's what I would recommend. It's a killer bridge.
Jupe says it's a cool looking guitar. It just looks like the volume knob is in the way.
Actually, it's not. The volume knob on this guitar, Jupe, is... if you watch my videos, you know that I love Strats, but I always hit the volume knob on a Strat. This guitar, I do not hit the volume knob on. So I'm able to play it, and I do not hit the volume knob. So I haven't had an issue with the volume knob on this one. It's a player. Like I said, I have a whole series on modifying this guitar to bring it to this level. This is an incredible instrument. I'll put it back on the wall here. I try to share knowledge, and I expect the exact same from my viewers. If you guys see me, I've got a lot of videos on, fret leveling, crowning frets, polishing frets, wiring. I love it when you guys type in and say, hey, did you ever think about doing this? Or why are you doing this? I do it this way. That interchange of knowledge makes everyone better. I think I've got a really cool trick with the tape. When you tape off your fretboard, instead of sitting there picking all the individual tape off, I tape the necks off in a certain way to where it'll literally peel everything off in one pass, and you're not picking for an hour to get the tape off the guitar. That's an interesting trick. Sharing knowledge is what it's about. It's what brings us together. And I love reading the comments on videos. It makes me Well, sometimes it makes me chuckle, but it makes me feel good when I see you guys really catching me, I guess I'll say. Hey, you did this, or you did that. And I'm like, yeah, I did it because of this or that. You know, it tickles me. It lets me know that you guys are paying attention. And if you don't know it, I am a smoker, and we have been live for 1 hour, and I'm patting myself on the back that I made it that hour. That's why if you watch my videos, we go about 15 minutes and there's a pause or a sweep. I'm usually taking a smoke break. So I'm going to go back to the chat and try to get caught up. I've been yakking about that bridge for 10 minutes, so I'll try to see what all I've missed. Try to find here. Replace it with an original Floyd Rose. Far superior. There's nothing wrong with the original Floyd Rose. But if you buy an original Floyd Rose, remember it's a stock product. So if you want that monster sustain, you're going to pay $300 for the bridge, and you're going to turn around and spend another. Well, if you get the Music Lily block, it's about $30. If you buy the Floyd Rose block, now they do have some different materials for the sustain block underneath the bridge. I'm not going to say it doesn't make a difference because I haven't tried it. But other people that I respect that work on guitars and other channels like Philip McKnight, I think they've looked into that and it does make a difference. I don't remember all the different materials. Floyd Rose has some pretty exotic materials they make the blocks out of. So if you start doing all that, you can really jump up in price. What I'm saying is before you spend $300 on an original Floyd Rose, you can build the bridge I just showed you for about $220, and it's a monster. There's nothing there to upgrade. Trust me, there's nothing to upgrade. It's top notch. And then Mikey, PV Deuce. Don't know that one. I don't know if that's an amp or a guitar. And Jupe says, cool, thank you. You're very welcome, man. And Nicholas, you did a very nice job on that guitar. Thank you. That was the very first series of videos that I did on YouTube. And I started because I was checking out all these videos and everyone was hyping up these Fireflies. And it was a $180 guitar or something. I'm like, these guys something's going on here. So I ordered one and did a review. And if you watch that first review, it did not go well for Firefly. The frets were awful. The fret leveling was bad. It was just bad. So I took a very bad guitar down to my workstation and I made it awesome. Of course, it's always better to start with a good guitar, but that's just proof you can take a guitar that has been poorly crafted, or I won't say the crafting's bad, the finishing was bad as far as the leveling, the crowning, all the handwork that the company had to do was bad. Everything that CNC and all that did, it was fine. The neck pocket was fine. You know, the routing for the pickups are fine. It was just all the actual handwork needed to be gone back over because it's what's called a fast guitar. The guitar is made fast, put in a box, and sent to you. So go back, do all that handwork, clean it up if you don't mind doing the work yourself. I think Jerry will agree with me. You can take one of these $200 to $350 guitars, do a little work on it yourself, you know, fretwork, polishing, maybe put a pure tone jack in it, maybe some tuners. You can really have a solid instrument for less money than a name brand guitar. And there's always qualifications there, guys. You're buying a Firefly or you have a Leo James. When you go to sell it, it's just like a Gibson. No one cares that you put $1,000 in pickups in it. It's a Gibson Les Paul Studio. That's all you're going to get for it. The trade-in value and the sell price is going to be whatever a Gibson Studio is. It doesn't matter if you put Gibson custom shop pickups on it. The value of the guitar isn't really going to change. The exact same thing happens with the Fireflies. And Linnell just yelled in, said Jerry had a question. itching my way through the video since I do need a Floyd Rose for an old body I have. Now, is the body post spacing the same on the original Floyd Rose?
As an original.
Yes. Now that the spacing on the guitar that I used, the FFMN, I used the original. No, yeah, that's an original Floyd Rose bass on that guitar, and I did not fill and re-drill the posts. I did extract the old post and the inserts out of the factory Firefly guitar, and I ordered the German inserts and posts. That's something else. You want the base plate of the tremolo and the posts need to be the same material. You don't want one harder than the other because the harder material is really going to eat away at the softer material. So the hardness needs to be the same on the two, that way they wear evenly. But the spacing's the same between the original and the special. You shouldn't have a problem. Now Goth on the one side, some of their bridges they put an L and the knife edge just runs to the lower side of the tremolo. And you can get away with it being off a couple of millimeters the way they've machined the base plate. But I haven't had a problem with the Floyd Roses not aligning to the Floyd Rose Special, or now even the cheaper Floyd Rose. Now they've got the super cheap Floyd Rose that Firefly is now installing. I think SBS, that Steve Brown sound, that they're using that cheaper tremolo too, which is cheaper than the Special. And it's got a silkscreen and cursive Floyd Rose printed on the base plate, and it's very soft. The nut is soft, the base plate's soft, the saddles are soft, and the screws themselves that the fine tuners pull on, it's pretty soft metal, guys. So keep in mind it's built to a price point.
Jerry said if you could throw a parts list together, he'd appreciate it. He can build it better for less.
You can. I would have to go back, Jerry, and actually look at my video and see if I actually did a parts list for that. If you want, if you go to the main page, my main YouTube page, if you click on contact info, my email is up there. Just send me an email and I can send you a parts list for that tremolo to build it. I have no issues doing that for you. Prices change. I did that about a year and a half ago, but you're not going to have the original Floyd Rose cost. It's going to be under $300 to build it.
Devastator bought a Glary from Amazon to be his guinea pig for his first mod guitar.
Nothing wrong with buying a Glary. They're good. The budget guitar is a good way for us to learn on. When you get really comfortable doing your fret leveling and stuff like that, then you can move on to more expensive instruments and not be overly worried about your skill level. Every time you do it, it's going to be a little easier for you. Trust me. I remember the first time I routed into a guitar, I was pretty scared. And I was routing into a BC Rich Warlock, a USA made BC Rich Warlock, early 90s. And he wanted a Floyd Rose bridge on it, and I routed out the back of the guitar and everything for the Floyd Rose. And he was right over my shoulder the whole time. That was the first time I'd done such an extensive modification on a guitar. That was a long time ago. But yeah, just send me an email, Jerry, and I'll get that information to you. It should be in the video, though. I'm usually pretty good at listing everything that I use in my videos. And Dean says, my philosophy is that hot rodding a guitar is not to increase the resale value, but to increase the playability. That's how you have to look at it. Don't look at it as a 401k. If you put $100 in it, you're not going to get $200 back. That's exactly how to look at it. Okay, what's next on the chat topic here? We can dig up one more. Jerry says I'll watch it through and take notes. That's what it's there for, man. It has been years, Mikey, since I rebuilt a driver. When I say years, it's been years. I have rebuilt 12-inch EVs, and I have rebuilt some of the old 18-inch JBLs. And I just remember it being really difficult to get the surround foam and the cone disc to glue in and get everything perfectly right. The paper from JBL doesn't have the foam around the edge. It's usually a rubber membrane that's glued, that's pre-glued onto the paper cone when you get it. And then you have the brass sleeve that fits down in the voice coil section. Usually that comes pre-assembled. I think you can just get the paper that you have to heat the glue and put it down on the other piece. So when we did it, we always bought it with the surround on it. And that part of the voice coil, that little sleeve, that circle sleeve, was already done. Now we did have to put the cone on because you had to penetrate the cone for the 2 wires to lay on and glue that on, then put the cone in, the little round piece. I don't think I'd want to do that again, because if you don't get that stuff just right, it really affects how the driver responds. That's usually better. I hate to say it, take it to someone that does it a lot, that has the tools and the fixtures to set it in place to make sure that stuff's right. It makes a big difference. But back in the day, we did it just for the band. Didn't make that kind of money. If we had an issue, we had to fix it. We also, on our horns, we used to run the dual voice coil EVs. So if you blew a horn, which it happens, you could go pull the back cabinet apart, spin the horn off, flip it around, spin it back on the cabinet piece, hook the wires up, and you were back up and running in less than, you could do it in 30 seconds. Rotate, you literally just threads on, spin it, flip it over, spin it the other direction, hook the wires up, and she starts firing. It'll fire while you're putting the back cover back on. So the sound guy was usually pretty good about that. That's different though, it's a horn. Drivers are a little harder. And Devastator, has anyone ever built their own guitar? I bought a solo kit of an Iceman and built it with Seymour Duncan SH6 pickups. Dang it, it sounds mean. That's because that's a mean pickup. The Seymour Duncan SH6 are nice pickups. I can't say anything bad about Seymour Duncan. Seymour Duncans are just good pickups. Well, it's been a while, so I think I'm going to put my headphones on. And just so you guys know, I still have my bad finger. So I'm not going to play that much, but I will give you a demo on the sound, on how I worked out some new sounds. Maybe it sounds a little better, give you guys a taste. And I'm going to have Linnell tell me if something messes up in the stream, because I'm literally going to turn off the main mic and activate channel 3 and 4. So I've switched back on the microphone here. You guys can tell me if you think that sounds better or worse, or if it didn't work at all. And you're standing out here, so it may not have worked at all.
No, I worked. You have a question. It says, why is the width of the fretboard so narrow on some guitars? My budget Schecter is like that, too narrow, meaning at the first fret.
So that makes a big. That's your nut width at the top. If you go and you look at like your R2, R3, R4, there's a bunch of different Floyd Rose. Now you really got to do some digging. When you get into the R8, R7, there's some real kooky sized nuts that have been made for manufacturers. Typically, what you see is R2, and R2 is a little narrow. The R3 is a little wider. Um, Believe it or not, a lot of people talk about that, but if it's a Floyd Rose bass guitar, there's only going to be usually 3 widths at the top because they have to make the stock nut work. Floyd Rose is not going to manufacture a special nut just because Schecter wants to go 43.3 millimeters. They're gonna go, well, we got a 43, okay? So what Schecter's going to do, they're going to put the 43 millimeter nut on, and they're going to shave this neck to 43. Maybe let it inset a half a millimeter on either side and call it a day. What that's going to do is that's going to push that string a little more onto the neck. So let's say Schecter does 43.5. I don't know what the R3 nut is. And the nut is 43. Well, that gives them 0.25 more space between the low and high E to the end of the fretboard, plus whatever spacing Floyd Rose is given from the center of the string of the seat of the nut to the end. So if Floyd Rose went 2.5 millimeters, you would have to add the 0.25 millimeters for using the smaller nut to push the strings in. That's why manufacturers kind of stick with it. That's why if you start looking at a guitar with a Floyd Rose on it, you're only going to find 2 or 3 different nut widths. And that's just because it becomes a sourcing issue. Floyd Rose does make some really strange width nuts, but they don't manufacture as many of them. So if Schecter went to them and said, look, we've got this 44 millimeter neck, Floyd Rose is like, well, we only manufacture these. If you want them, it's a special run, and we're going to up our production for 2,000 guitars, or how many ever Schecter wants to build. So Schecter's going to look at it going, maybe it's not worth it. So they kind of stick to a standard. Standards are good because it lowers the cost of the instrument, okay? Standards are bad because now it's a standard. And if you want something outside the box, you pay for it. That means someone has to custom make a nut for that guitar. So that's why you see a lot of guitar companies sticking to 42, 41.5. Whatever the standards are, they're going to stick to it because parts availability and their vendors. Hopefully that answered your question. Well, thank you, Dean. He's got the little picture of the guitar with this and fire. So that actually, there's no amp there. That's all Line 6 HX stomp with an amp sim and an RF, cab RF going right to the Yamaha. So in the room, I hear nothing. I cannot hear the guitar without my headphones. So in the Yamaha on channel 3, I have it going to monitor out so I can actually hear what I'm doing. But there's no amplifier. So I've been trying to, I spent about 2 hours today just tuning it, trying to get a more amp-like sound. Because last night's video, I didn't think it was that good. I thought it still needed some tweaking. So I'm glad someone likes the new sound.
James, Nicholas, and Red Eye all said it sounds good, sounds better. Kurt Scale said it sounds a little thin, lacking low end, but volume
Yes, I did. I did notice the low end. Linnell's reading the comments to me. What I found, and it's just me, it has nothing to do with the Line 6 HX Stomp. I know guys that play professionally and just put that in their guitar and they go out and play all over the place. What I found when I started pushing the low end up is my E string started getting a funny smack sound, like almost like a click from the pick, and it started getting muddy, less definition and more mud. So I need to play with it, and that's not necessarily your preamp, the fake preamp. It could be something in the reverb settings too. Your reverb, your chorus, your delay, how your gate and your expander set. There's so many different things that you're building on. If one of those little things are out of whack and something else doesn't like it, it can cause what I call artifacts. And I was getting some really strange artifacts when I tried to lower increase the low end. I was also getting some strange artifacts when I did the typical center cut. So I added a second EQ, and I'm actually boosting the mids, and then on the amp, the simulated amp, I have the mids cut. And then in the boost pedal, I've cut the mids. So I'm boosting it in one spot and cutting the mids in two other spots. And I went back and forth trying to get the low end to be more bitey, and I just couldn't get it. And the better I got the articulation, as far as what I heard on the noting, the less drive and the less harmonic the new patch became. For me, what I hear when I'm playing it, I like more harmonics. I like the pitch harmonics. In this particular setting, yes, I can get pinch harmonics, but it's not as effortless as I actually like. So, as long as it got a little better, I'm happy. But I'm going to save this preset, and I'm going to copy it to another channel or another block, and I'm going to continue to tweak it. But I'm going to copy it first, that way I still have the original, and see if I can't get a little bit more of a fat bottom, a little bit more drive or kick, and I'll make it a little bit more harmonic so the pinch harmonics come out. But it's not an amplifier. I'm used to a rack mount system. For what it is, I think it's doing pretty good.
Red Eye and Devastator both say it sounds better.
Red Eye and Devastator both say it sounds better, so that's good. That means I made an improvement. So we do have the new microphone here. Like I said, I'm not going to plug it in to see. I don't want to mess up OBS and lose the whole stream. But I'll probably do some tests tomorrow and see if we can get the audio quality up a little bit. But I think it's getting there, guys. I think each live stream we're getting a little better. But yeah, we did the unboxing of the microphone. Yeah, I know that we said we were gonna unbox that big box over there. I'm gonna leave it up to the chat. If you guys want me to unbox the big box and see what's in the big box, we can unbox it right now before we end the live stream, or I can do a dedicated video on it and you guys can watch it in 5 or 6 days. So I'll give you all a little bit of time to put in there, unbox it or don't unbox it. And I'm going to take another drink because I've actually been talking quite a bit. Unbox. I got the first vote on unbox. Oh, and Devastator let the cat out of the bag. See how he is? It's just a case. Now, see, the guys that wasn't here last night didn't know it was just a case. Ha! Unbox it. Unbox review later. Unbox. Do a dedicated video. That's kind of what I was thinking too, guys. Do it. I mean, we did actually do one unboxing. We did do an unboxing. I promised everyone an unboxing, and I made a special trip to Shenandoah Music just to buy this microphone for an unboxing. So technically I kept my word.
Well, Short Boss was expecting it on
I know Short Bus was expecting an unboxing. I don't know if he's in the chat and he's watching. But I apologize. Tomorrow I will, if Short Bus, if you're watching, I will do a dedicated video tomorrow and have the video up by next weekend. I think that would be better. Let's try to keep the live stream content. And this unboxing was about the live stream. It's a microphone. That particular product, since everyone knows, yes, it is a guitar case. But the question is, what guitar case did we get? And since it's for Short Bus, if you guys have watched the live streams, you also know it's probably for that black guitar right there. So we custom ordered him a nice case to protect his investment.
Jip said, can't wait to see your Kiesel unboxed.
Well, I can't wait to see the Kiesel unboxing too. The problem is funds. I really want to get a Kiesel, but and it's nothing to do with the price of the guitar. I think I've said it before. I don't see Kiesel being able to keep to that price point that they're at. They're going to have to increase their price point. They're made in California. California's expensive to manufacture. They're high quality instruments. Price a custom shop Gibson. Price a custom shop Fender. A custom shop Schecter. A custom shop Jackson. I'm a Shure guitar, Sir, whatever that brand is. They're all $5 grand, $6 grand, $7 grand. I'm not saying Kiesel doesn't make a model like that, but you can buy just a regular Les Paul from Gibson. Not anything fancy, not a fancy top, just a Les Paul. It's going to be $5 grand at this custom shop. If you look at Kiesel's A2s, you can buy a really nice A2 well equipped for $2,500. I mean, a well equipped A2 for $2,500. If you spent $3 grand on an A2, you could probably put all the bells and whistles on an A2 for that. I think they do have a K model, and the K model's, a little more expensive. But I think if you look feature for feature, I'm pretty sure the K model would have more features per dollar than what you're getting at Fender and Gibson. Now, it's not a Les Paul and it's not a Strat. I get it. If you want that, then you got to buy a Fender or a Gibson. But if you're looking at features and that type of guitar, I don't see how Kiesel does it. It's mind-boggling to me. I ran my own business for years. It's expensive.
You got more people wanting you to do an unbox tonight.
Yeah, I see everyone's typing on the unbox.
Do a review or do your review later.
Okay, we'll unbox it tonight. Since Linnell's typing in, we've definitely got the scale is tipped towards the unbox. So we'll unbox it and then I'll actually do a full review of the case later on. So let me grab the box over here. And that is the fiberglass reinforced tape. And there's a box inside of a box. Extra cardboard. And you guys can tell what it is right there. And there's our bill of lading. Guitar Factory is where this one come from. And it looks like we've got two pieces of tape here. I'm using a guitar pick for a knife. And at the top of the box here, you actually have a piece of cardboard set to the top. That is packaged quite well. So this piece is around the case, so the top of the case can't bounce around in the box. That's pretty cool. There's some thought put into that. What do they got going on up here? They've got, it's like a little zip tie type thing. So this case is the Epiphone case, and I was looking at cases for him, trying to find the best bang for the buck. And if you look around, you can buy a generic case for probably $119, okay? And it's a generic case. The reason I went with this is $129 I told him. I already know the case is good. If you know this channel, you know we've reviewed the Alex Lifeson Les Paul from Epiphone. And believe it or not, this is the same case that they send with that $1,300 Epiphone. So I was able to take his guitar and actually put it in that case and double check and make sure everything fit just right. Now it does have a latch back here, and of course you have your latches up front here as well. But inside the case, it's a really nice case. And if you got bass players, they love these. The bass players like to eat these. So inside the case, they put a ramp right here. And that ramp makes sure it supports the neck and the cradle right here really well. And it has a nice little spot there that you can put your stuff in. But the case itself, it's a well-made case. It also comes with some keys. It's just a sharp case. There's actually added padding right here for the body. And they've added padding right here that encapsulates the neck into this cradle. And the cradle here, unlike some cases, this isn't hard. This is a very dense rubber that they put the carpet over. So it actually is able to push down on the neck just a little bit when this goes over the neck. And this one's made the same way. So when I put the guitar in the case, I noticed that it was a perfect fit. And for $129, for this level of a case, the latches, they latch very well. It's just a nice solid case. You've got feet here on the back of the case. They put feet so you can lay it flat. It's got feet on the side so you can set it this way on the floor. You can set it this way on the floor. And they actually put feet down here as well so you can stand it up. So if you have a bunch of cases all set up along the wall, it has feet. It's just a solid case. I've had my Epiphone case in the Alex Lifeson model for over a year, and I haven't had any delamination issues. I haven't had any issues with the threads coming out. For $129, it's a solid case. So I don't know what you guys think about it, or if you would have bought a different brand. But again, I had this case here already, so I could verify that that guitar fit properly in the case and didn't move around. So if you have a Firefly LP, the Epiphone case is a perfect fit for that guitar. I'm going to be getting another one because I actually have a black Firefly. That's the Significant Others guitar over here. It needs a case. And then I actually have a Firefly with P90s. It's the Les Paul P90, and it needs a case. So I'm going to be ordering 2 of these. So I don't know if it sounded like I was in a bean can there, because I was actually set up to do a podcast and not do a review, so completely different microphone. So hopefully it was decent. I'm going to go back and look at the chat and see what you guys think about it. Yeah, Red Eye said those are good cases. Yeah, I think it's a good case too. For $130, how can you go wrong with a $130 guitar case that has 4 latches with all the feet, the padding that's in it? It's kind of a no-brainer. It really is. And I'm waiting for someone to say you spent $130 on a $280 guitar. Well, yeah, it's still a $280 guitar. You're wanting to go somewhere. You just don't want to throw the guitar on your back seat. You know, it protects your guitar. It's a nice place for that guitar to live and be happy. It's its home. You know.
Case it or replace it.
What's this?
Red Eye said case it or replace it.
Taped it or replaced it.
He's talking about the guitar. You case it or you replace it.
Oh, yeah, exactly. You either case it or you replace. I'm a firm believer in cases. I agree with that. And Devastator, it's a nice case. Yeah, I think it is. I think that it's a lot of bang for your buck to protect your investment. I like it. So when he asked me what case to get for $130, like I said, it's a no-brainer. It's a nice case. So I need to get 2 for my other 2 Les Pauls that I have to protect those. The black Les Paul's been out here for a while, so I think I might rotate that guitar into a case and bring another guitar out and stick on the wall, something else that I can grab. It's been out on the wall now for about a year. It might be time to shuffle that one, put it in storage in the other room, and bring another guitar out to be played. I think it's about time. That's actually not my guitar, so technically it'll be up to Linnell to decide whether or not I can take it off the wall. But but if I do sneak it off the wall, I would like to bring my Yamaha Pacifica out and hang that on the wall. And I must have done something because the puppy dog's now barking. But I think the Yamaha Pacifica would be a nice guitar for me to grab. It's a working man's guitar. Yeah, there's the moderator just typed in laugh out. I'll sneak her guitar off the wall and replace it with the Pacifica. But notice, I am not stupid, okay? If I'm going to take the Significant Other's guitar off the wall, okay, I'm going to replace it with a guitar she bought for me at Christmas last year. That way I could say, well, honey, this is the guitar you got me at Christmas. Come on. It needs to live up here on the wall where I can play it. See, I might have a squirrel brain, but my little squirrel brain does work sometimes. I thought that was funny. Yeah, back to the chat here. I'm kind of missing. Dean says, thanks. The Gibson is a 2013 Gibson JR. They're 1,200 entry level. I bought it for $400. Painted it Gibson Aztecs Gold and put Rio Grande pickups in it. The Texas Barbecue Humbuckers. I don't think I know those pickups. That's another thing, guys. Nowadays, there are so many options. Pickup options, bridge options, tuner options. Just strings themselves. How many different kinds of strings. I mean, I've said it before. I think we're living in the golden age of guitars. It's just amazing how many different products there are out there that you can really make your guitar your own. You know, tweak it and get this or that and really make it your own guitar. Yeah, Devastator, Yamaha doesn't get near the credit they should get on guitars. And that's a guitar I haven't done a review on yet, so I should probably do a review on it, or at least bring it out and start doing some live streams with it. That's what I call a working man guitar is a guitar that you can take to a gig, and if you're playing a variety of music, you can get a variety of different sounds out of. And that Yamaha Pacifica, it's not one of the cheap ones. She bought it for me right before they come out with the Pro model. So now mine, the ones I got, would be considered a Pro model. But it was the last production run before they switched to the cheaper Pacifica and then the high-end Pro model. Before, there really wasn't a high and low model. They had different grades. And this one's got a flame maple top on it, stock with Seymour Duncan pickups. It's got the Wilkinson's bridge on it. I mean, it's a sharp guitar. It's a sharp guitar. If you want to see it, it is in one of my videos. I believe it's in the SR V30 cabinet video. I think I played that guitar for sound purposes through that Celestion cabinet. I'm pretty sure that was one of the guitars I used in that video. So Devastator, yeah, nice guitars. I have a Revstar. I've been eyeballing the Revstar for a long time. I would already have a Revstar with dual P90s if they made the Revstar P90 equipped without that long tail piece. If you look at the Revstar with the humbuckers, they have like a Gibson type bridge, okay? But the model they make with the dual P90s, it has like a floating tailpiece that comes back and attaches to the bottom side of the guitar. If they had the other bridge or the humbucker version of the Revstar with the P90s, I would already have one.
Jupe has to go.
Okay, Jupe, I see it says you gotta go. I appreciate you liking the lives, man. I appreciate you tuning in. Before you go, hit the like button and leave a comment down below. It helps YouTube AI push the videos out for us. Good seeing you, man. We'll see you next Saturday. Devastator says his has a Gigsby. I've never seen a Revstar with a Gigsby. I didn't know they made that. Is that a new model, or do you have one of the older models? Sounds very much early 70s ZZ Top. I can dig that tone. I love the, I guess it was the dirty Texas tone that they had. That was an awesome tone. Devastator. Older RS 7208. RS 720B. I probably need to change my glasses. My monitor is way back here behind the camera. I need a better way of actually being able to read the chat. So I'm not familiar with that model. I was talking about the new Revstars they're making right now. Those are. I actually looked at one today when I was at Shandor Music. I was kind of like, I want that guitar, but there's too many guitars I want. I would have a house full of guitars. And the problem is, how much time will I actually get to play it? Like, I want to sit here and play my Nashville Squire. Okay? And then I got a Jackson V next to that. And I'm like, well, maybe I want to play some hair stuff. And I'll look over here and I'll see my Fender FMT. And I'm like, man, I want to play that one. That one plays good too. And it's got that real smooth sound to it. Sometimes you have option paralysis. I can't even speak. Isn't that awful? You got too many options and you can't make a decision. That happens to me constantly. So I ran in and grabbed the Night Swan tonight for playing. I thought the Night Swan would be cool. And Dean said, I put some Billy Gibson brand strings on it last year. I didn't know that Billy Gibbons had his own brand of strings. And Ben sent me an image through Skype And at some point, ooh, now I don't know, I can't share the screen, guys, I'm sorry. That is a pretty guitar. I wish I could show it to you guys. That's going to be next. I'm going to learn how to, when someone sends me an image, I can get it so you guys can see it. That's going to be this week's thing. That's a really sharp looking guitar. I like the top on that. To describe it, it does have a Gigsby tremolo. It looks like it's a yellow gold type color, very yellow, with a black, okay, like a flame top with a rubbed in black finish, so you get the black lines through it. Gold, looks like gold hardware with a black pick guard and square inlays. That is a sharp looking guitar.
Honey Tap said that I missed the show.
Oh my gosh, Honey Tap just come in. Yeah, you're coming in on the back end of the show, man. I was actually getting ready to almost end the stream.
And Devastator said it was ash.
It's an ash top. That looks like a flame maple top on that. We will figure out how to get, when someone sends something to me through Skype or something, I will figure out how to get that image to go into OBS so you guys can see it. That'll be something that I'll educate myself on this week, and we'll shoot to make that happen for the next stream. Like I promise you guys, I promise one improvement every week. It might be something small, but we'll make an improvement to the live stream every week. Yeah, man, I'm glad you made it too. I think last night you missed because I think you were streaming at the exact same time we were streaming. And we normally don't stream on Friday nights. It was a test. It just ended up going crazy and we ended up staying on. But I promised everyone we would come back in tonight, do a quick unboxing, and everyone could sit and chat. This has been a fun one. We've actually hit a lot of different topics. A lot of topics that I like talking at. One, talking Seymour Duncan's. I love Seymour Duncan's. We talked about old amps, old speakers, a lot of different stuff, repairing stuff. We also talked about Floyd Rose bridges, and building. Jerry needs to go back and look at those videos. Like I said, Jerry, if I don't give you a list in the videos on building the highly modified custom bridge, shoot me an email and I'll get you a parts list together for that. And then you can build one too. Well, guys, I see James. 5150. I think I saw his name earlier. James, how you doing? I try to hit everyone that comes into the chat to acknowledge that I see you there. And if you haven't already, guys, hit the little like button for me. Type something in the comments section below. It doesn't need to be much, but it does help YouTube. And I want to thank everybody for coming in to the live stream and making Saturday night awesome. But I'm going to end it right here, guys. And stay tuned. We'll have a video up next week. It'll probably be a true case review and fitting the guitar in. I also told him that I was going to put strap locks on it. So maybe I can do the strap lock and put the guitar in the case and get it ready for short bus. So look forward to that, and I'll see you guys next Saturday night.